Well, if we're going to want to write some Java code, we need to start with creating a project in Eclipse. So in Eclipse, a project is a way to group together all of your packages, all of your code that works together. Well, to build a project, we're going to click on the File menu item, choose New, and we're going to build a Java project. And by the way, the menus, they change depending upon what perspective you're in as well. And so if you're not seeing File New Java Project, make sure that you're in the Java perspective. So once I've clicked on Java Project, it comes up with a dialog asking me to name the project. I'll just call it My First Project. There we go. Whoops. And ask me questions. First thing is where to put the project. We have the option of changing it, but the default location would be to place that project under our workspace. We can even specify what version of Java we want it to correspond to. I'll go ahead and just hit Finish. Let's quickly get a project up and Atom. And you can see over on the left in the Package Explorer, we now have this My First Project that's been built up. If I expand that out, well, not a lot going on here. We have the Java libraries, the JRE libraries that our project can make use of. There's rt.jar that we saw in a previous video. But we need to add some code in here. So now that we have a project, let's go ahead and create a brand new class, a new application. So File, New, Class. And what we're going to get here is, again, a dialog where we can specify the name of the package that the class would run in. We've been using the word examples for some of our packages. That's fine. And we need to give the package a name, or excuse me, the class a name. And so I'll call it My First Class. The name of your class, no spaces are allowed. We typically capitalize classes in Java. You don't have to, but that's by convention. Whereas your project name can be anything you want. Eclipse doesn't care about spacing, doesn't care about capitalization. A project is more of an Eclipse thing. A class is a Java thing, and there are very specific rules for that. Other than that, I'll just hit Finish. There are other things we can click on there, but we don't understand or we haven't talked about those just yet, so we'll discover those later on in the class. And so here we go. We've got ourselves the basic structure of a Java class. We're in a package called Examples, and on the far left you can see under this little source folder we have Examples, and under Examples I have myfirstclass.java. And this class has even its curly braces ready to go. Well, if you remember from earlier videos, we need to put in a main here in our class in order to run it. Public static void main string bracket args. Open curly brace, close curly brace. While that works just fine, me typing that in, there's a shortcut I can show you. Rather than typing that in, I can type in the word main, M-A-I-N, and then with my keyboard, simultaneously click the Control key as well as the space bar, so Control Space. And, whoops, it should, let me make sure I got that right, there we go. It should pop up another dialog that says, allows me to choose to generate a main method. So I can either push Enter or I can click it with my mouse here, maybe double click, there we go. And I've got my main that it generated for me. So you don't have to necessarily memorize public static void main string bracket args when you're doing Eclipse, because you can generate that automatically. I'll do that again here. M-A-I-N main, Control Space, Enter, and we have our main generated. That's pretty handy. It also puts in the curly braces, which is nice. Well, I'll have it do something here. So I want to do system.out.println, and we'll print out the word hello, perhaps. And that works. I could have typed that in just like I did. Or, well, let me show you another shortcut here. If we type in sysout, S-Y-S-O-U-T, sysout, and hit Control Space, there it is again, Control Space. That's going to be very useful for you going forward. That expands sysout to system.out.println. Again, this is a nice shortcut that Eclipse makes available to us. Now I can put in my quotation marks. And by the way, if I open a quote, it automatically closes the quote for me, puts the cursor in between the open and close quote, and I can type in whatever I want to type in. Now if I physically type the close quote, it doesn't add yet another one for me. It knows that I'm just closing that string off, and it just moves my cursor past the quote that it already had put in for me. So there we go. We have ourselves a class that's part of a project, and we've generated a main. We've placed in a printout in there, and I guess the next thing we want to do is compile this. Well, Eclipse doesn't have a compile button that I can click on, but instead, anytime I save a file in Eclipse, it actually does a compile for me. And so if I go to File, Save, behind the scenes, it compiles this class. And if I wanted to go see the class created, I can go under the C drive, Eclipse, C drive, Users, Video, Workspace. So in this case, the project went in the workspace since I didn't tell it to put it somewhere else. Here's the My First Project. It went ahead and created a source directory for my Java code, and it created a bin directory for my class file. So when I hit save, it created the class file for me. As far as that bin and that source directory are concerned, when you do a new project, a new Java project, one of the options is to whether it should create separate folders for the source and class files, or if it should just put them both in the project folder. I believe that the files that we use in class, all of our supporting files, do the first option here. Anyway, anytime we save, that compiles for us. Well, Eclipse is smarter than even that. It tries to syntax check as you type. And so I haven't saved yet. I actually deleted the closed curly brace or the closed semicolon, but you can see there's a little error that's coming up here. Syntax error, insert semicolon to complete the block statement. So it says you're not done. You need to put in the semicolon. Well, I'm not done. Of course, yeah. Maybe I was just typing along. Maybe I was in process here and typing hello, and it's giving me errors. Here it is telling me there's more problems. String is not properly closed by a double quote. So don't let it bug you too much that Eclipse is flagging problems as you type, because sometimes just by finishing the typing you're doing, you'll clean up those errors, those problems that were being introduced. I just personally get in the habit, once I finish typing the line, I hit save, or there's a Control S is the shortcut. I tend to just do that automatically behind the scenes. You can also hit the little diskette that's in the toolbar, and that'll do a compile for me. If I save it, and it does a compile, the problems will show themselves down here in the bottom in the problems view. And so it says, hey, there's an error. We need a semicolon in myfirstclass.java, line number 5. And you can double click on an error down in that problems area, and it'll try to take you to the line number where it thinks the issue is at. So if you haven't saved yet, like I added the semicolon, notice I haven't chosen save yet. It kind of grays out the error, so it has like a little gray X. So it used to be a problem, but until I save, it hasn't cleared out that compiler error. So I need to save it for that to clear out completely. So anyway, the whole point of this page was you build a brand new class, file new class. You can put in things like a main method if you wanted to. And once you type your code in, if you save your file, that does the compile on your behalf. One other thing I probably should show you in this as I'm talking through this is if I do that file new class again, one of the options it gives me, I'll call this my second class, is that it can create the main for me. So there's a little checkbox for which method stubs to create. And so yeah, I could use that. I'll click finish. When I do that, it adds a few extra comments in though, and maybe that's a little more than I'd like. I don't know. I tend to just type in MAIN control space. And I eliminate the if I don't, then I just eliminate the comments like I just did.